Hello friends, Shayla here. So this is a follow-up video to the video I most recently uploaded. I talked a little bit about problematic books, and as people were talking in the comments, I realized that the point I was really trying to get across didn't come across well. So I'm hoping the format of this video ends up coming across more clearly to all of you. There's a good chance that by the time some of you are watching this video, the other video might be made private. I haven't decided what I'm really going to do about that yet. So today, what we're talking about is why we should be making 1-star reviews and not rant reviews. So in my previous video, I talked about problematic books and about how everybody's going to find something problematic with some book. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with finding problematic things in books. Books aren't perfect. The people who write them aren't perfect. And the fact that there are problems just means there's problems in books. And I feel like people are just ranting about it rather than creating a 1-star review that a publisher might actually be willing to look at as opposed to a rant review. The thing you're immediately implying with a rant review is that you're very emotional about it. And as a reviewer and a critiquer, I don't think that we need to let our emotions fully cloud our reviews. So a person who is a great example at making 1-star reviews is Mari from over at My Name is Mariness. She makes very eloquent 1-star reviews, but she's not afraid to talk about the problems in these books. She's not afraid to say that she doesn't think the writing's good or things like that, and express all the issues and problems with these books while remaining professional about it. Yes, we all have those moments where our emotions creep through in our reviews, positive or negative. So I'm not saying all emotion is bad, but when you're going to sit there and rant about a book for a long period of time, a publisher isn't going to take you seriously because they're like, oh, well, they're just emotional about it. They can't think critically about it. They don't look at the good in the book, and then they just move on. They're not going to notice you or take you seriously if you're just sitting there ranting about it. People within the community might take you seriously, but I don't think a publisher or any sort of bigger reviewing house that might look into having you do some reviews for them is going to take a rant review seriously. I actually really love the way Sam over at Thoughts on Tomes structures her reviews. She always does a non-spoiler review. She's not afraid to express as much as she can without spoiling things, you know, the good and the bad of these books. But then she also does a follow-up video, which is either called a gripe or a gush. So if she had a lot of issues with the book and she wasn't happy about it, she goes and she gripes about it there. But it's not really a rant. She's just griping about it. And I think she remains professional about it. I think that's what what the core of my issue is that I feel like a rant review isn't very professional. I'm not saying don't talk about the bad things in books. That's the thing I need to make the most clear right now. I think publishers and the general public need to know the things wrong with books. If you are passionate about a book and you find huge issues with it, you need to tell people. I'm not saying don't tell them. I'm saying do it in a way that is still professional. People look to us for reviews as professionals, as readers. And I think if you're just going to sit there and rant about something, though some people might enjoy that and take you seriously because they kind of like the drama of it, the majority of people are just going to kind of ignore you if you're sitting there ranting about something. So I think we need to make that shift back to 1-star reviews as opposed to rant reviews. An occasional rant review over a super problematic book. A book I brought up in my previous video was Me Before You. I enjoyed it. I was ignorant to a lot of the problems in it when I read it. I've acknowledged those problems. My rating hasn't changed of it. But if you felt the representation was wrong in that book, you need to go and do 1-star reviews of them. The publisher is much more likely to look at a 1-star review as opposed to a rant review. I have a friend with a small publishing house that I reached out to and asked some of these questions after comments started coming in under my other video, and he said, yeah, we ignore all rant reviews. 1-star reviews we go and we look at because we want to know what's wrong. But if it's a rant review, they're just ignoring them. So if you want to be heard by a publisher and make changes in the publishing world, rant reviews aren't the way to do it. 1-star reviews are. when you create a 1-star review, you try to leave as much emotion out of it as you can. It's okay to show some, because it shows that you're strongly passionate about your feelings. And it's okay to be snarky in some. I mean, Sarah over at Sarah Without an H is great at doing kind of snarky 1-star reviews of books, and they still remain on that professional air as opposed to a rant review. So, in any of the channels I mentioned, I will leave linked down below. A recent example of a friend of mine who pitched it as a rant review, where I would have rather seen it called like a discussion or 10 things I didn't like about A Court of Frost and Starlight, was my friend over at Beautiful Bookish Bethany. I feel like even though she was a bit emotional about it, she still remained professional. And I wish she would have titled it something other than a rant review. Again, I will leave that linked down below. I think it's just this mentality we have in BookTube to sit and rant about things now. And I think that becomes this toxic whirlpool of everybody just starts feeding on all of the toxicity, and we all start to nitpick books and find everything wrong with it rather than looking for the good things and the enjoyable things in books. This is what I was really trying to get across in the other video, but clearly I didn't approach it the right way for a lot of the people who watched it. So this is my follow-up to that. I would love for us to make a shift back to 1-star reviews. In a 1-star review, you don't have to tiptoe around the problems in books. That was something somebody else had mentioned, is that before people started doing rant reviews, they felt like they were tiptoeing around if they didn't like a book. I'm a firm believer that you can still get a point across in a 1-star review without having to rant about it. The emotional side of a rant is what turns off publishers. So I think if you want to be heard, you have to go with 1-star. And I think that's a really important thing we need to do. If we want changes in the bookish world and the bookish community and what publishers are publishing, we need to be making videos that get seen. So by switching over to a 1-star review as opposed to a rant review, you're going to be more likely seen by a publisher. Big or small channel, I think this is super important. That's probably the easiest way to sum up my feelings on the situation. As I want to clarify one more time, if you did not enjoy a book, let people know and let people know why. But my only thing is that I think we need to go back to kind of checking our emotions at the door a little bit. State everything wrong with it. Keep everything clear and concise. Read passages from the book if you want to. But I think we really honestly need to get back to calling them 1-star reviews as opposed to rant reviews and scaling back the emotion on it. Because we are professionals. Publishers look to us to review books for them, to get books sent to us. And I really think if you're going around just rant reviewing about any book a publisher is willing to send you, that's not going to look well on the community at all. So, yes, I think rant reviews have a time and place. Do I think they need to be the norm? No. 1-star reviews should be the norm. If you're ranting about something, it has to be something that has like huge implications for the publishing world. A book that is okay to rant review, that I'm honestly a little more okay with rant reviews about this particular book, is Me Before You. There are a lot of issues with it, and the fact that it went so far, yes, rants are deserved for that novel. But again, this is my personal opinion. If my opinion doesn't jive with you, that's okay. I'm gonna again wrap this video here. I hope my feelings are much more articulate and much more easily understood this go around. And I really hope we as a community can get back to doing 1-star reviews as opposed to rant reviews. I would like us all to remain professional and as kind as possible through this whole process. And again, I ask one last time to be kind down in the comments to me or anybody else who might comment on this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.